Delhi, a city that pulsates with life. Crowds surge through its streets. Amidst the cacophony stands Prerna Heights. This towering apartment complex is home to families and dreams. Laughter echoes from balconies. Children chase pigeons in the courtyard. The aroma of spices wafts from kitchens. Life, vibrant and chaotic, thrives within Prerna Heights, except perhaps on the 8th floor. A hush falls as you ascend to the 8th floor. The air grows colder, and the sounds of the bustling city below seem to vanish, swallowed by the silence that envelops this part of the building. Each step you take echoes softly, a reminder of the isolation that awaits. The cheerful chatter from below fades away, replaced by an eerie stillness. The contrast is stark, almost jarring, as if you've crossed an invisible threshold into another world. The corridor is dimly lit, shadows clinging to the corners like dark memories. The flickering lights cast unsettling shapes on the walls, adding to the sense of unease that permeates the air. The air feels heavy, stagnant, as if it hasn't been disturbed in years. Dust particles float lazily in the dim light, each one a tiny testament to the passage of time. Doors painted a somber gray line the hallway. Each one looks identical, yet each holds its own secrets, its own stories of the lives that once thrived behind them. Nameplates, once bright and welcoming, are now dull and tarnished. The names are barely legible, worn away by time and neglect, hinting at the forgotten lives that once called this place home. A sense of unease creeps in, growing stronger with each step. The silence is oppressive, almost tangible, pressing down on you from all sides. You can't shake the feeling that you're being watched, that unseen eyes are tracking your every move. The 8th floor is a stark contrast to the rest of Prerna Heights. While the lower floors are bright and lively, filled with the sounds of daily life, the 8th floor feels like a forgotten relic, a place out of time. It is an island of disquiet in a sea of life. The isolation is palpable, a silent anomaly in an otherwise bustling building. Here the past lingers, whispering its secrets to those who dare to listen. Whispers follow you down the hallway. They speak of Mrs. Kapoor, a kind old woman who once lived on this floor. She had always been a quiet soul, keeping to herself. Then, one day, she vanished. The police were called. A thorough search was conducted. But Mrs. Kapoor was never found. Some say she simply moved away. Others whisper of something more sinister. They say the 8th floor claimed her. Over the years, new tenants moved into the 8th floor. Each one arrived with hope, eager to create a home. But their hopes soon turned to fear. Strange occurrences plagued them. Footsteps echoed in the dead of night. Shadows danced on the walls. Objects moved inexplicably. Doors creaked open and shut on their own. The tenants, unnerved, would pack their belongings and leave. The 8th floor remained cursed. Section 5. Aditi's arrival, a fresh face, a familiar dread. Then came Aditi, a young journalist drawn to the mysteries of the city. She had always been fascinated by the stories that seemed to breathe life into the very streets she walked. The city, with its towering buildings and hidden alleyways, was a labyrinth of secrets waiting to be uncovered. Aditi's curiosity was insatiable, and her determination to get to the bottom of these urban legends was unwavering. She had heard the stories, of course, tales of ghostly apparitions, unexplained noises, and eerie occurrences that sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest souls. These stories were whispered in hushed tones, passed down from one generation to the next, each adding their own embellishments. But Aditi was not one to be deterred by rumors. She believed that every legend had a kernel of truth, and she was determined to find it. But Aditi was not one to be deterred by rumors. She packed her bags with a sense of purpose, her heart set on uncovering the truth. Her confidence was palpable, and she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. She rented an apartment on the 8th floor of an old building, a place that many had warned her about, but Aditi was undeterred. She saw it as the perfect base for her investigations. She rented an apartment on the 8th floor. The building itself was a relic of a bygone era, with creaky floors and dimly lit hallways that seemed to whisper secrets of their own. As she turned the key in the lock and stepped inside, she felt a sense of anticipation. This was where her journey would begin. She was determined to uncover the truth behind the legends. Her days were spent poring over old documents, interviewing locals, and piecing together the fragments of stories that had been scattered over time. She delved into archives, uncovering forgotten tales and hidden histories. Each discovery brought her closer to the heart of the mystery. At first, all was quiet. The apartment seemed like any other, a place of refuge from the bustling city outside. Aditi found solace in the quiet moments, using the time to reflect on her findings and plan her next steps. The stillness was a welcome change from the chaos of her daily investigations. But soon, Aditi began to experience the same unsettling occurrences. It started with small things, a flicker of movement in the corner of her eye, a feeling of being watched. She tried to brush it off, attributing it to her overactive imagination. But the occurrences became more frequent and harder to ignore. A cold draft seemed to follow her. No matter how many times she checked the windows, she could never find the source. The chill seemed to seep into her bones, leaving her shivering even in the warmth of her apartment. It was as if the very air around her was alive with a presence she couldn't see. She felt a presence in her apartment, watching her. It was an unsettling feeling, one that she couldn't shake. She would catch glimpses of shadows moving in the corners of her vision, hear faint whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. The sense of being watched grew stronger with each passing day, and Aditi knew that she was not alone. The legends she had come to investigate were no longer just stories. They were becoming her reality. Section 6. The Crimson Stain, a Ghastly Discovery. One evening, Aditi noticed a stain on the floor of her apartment. It was a deep, crimson red. It was not blood, she assured herself. It was probably just spilled paint. But the stain refused to fade. It seemed to spread, a dark stain on the wooden floorboards. The stain terrified her. It felt like a warning. Section 7. Vanished. Aditi's disappearance. Days turned into weeks. Aditi's fear grew with each passing moment. She continued to experience strange occurrences. Whispers seemed to emanate from the walls, calling her name. Eerie reflections stared back at her from mirrors. Then, one day, Aditi vanished. Her neighbors, accustomed to the strange happenings of the 8th floor, hardly noticed. It was as if Aditi had simply become another part of the 8th floor's grim history. Section 8. The Diary, a chilling revelation. The police found Aditi's diary in her apartment. The entries were chilling. Each page seemed to be a window into her tormented soul, revealing the depths of her fear and the strange occurrences that plagued her life. The officers could hardly believe what they were reading. She wrote about her experiences, the fear that consumed her. Every night she felt an eerie presence, something she couldn't quite explain. The shadows seemed to move on their own and whispers echoed through the empty rooms. Her once peaceful apartment had turned into a place of dread. The final entry sent shivers down their spines. It was as if Aditi knew something terrible was about to happen. Her handwriting was frantic, almost illegible, as if she was in a state of panic. The words she wrote were haunting and filled with a sense of impending doom. "The stain," she wrote, "it's spreading. It's calling me." This mysterious stain seemed to have a life of its own, growing larger and darker with each passing day. Aditi felt an inexplicable connection to it, as if it was drawing her in, compelling her to uncover its secrets. "I have to find out what happened to Mrs. Kapoor. I think I'm close." Aditi had become obsessed with the previous tenant, Mrs. Kapoor, who had mysteriously disappeared. She believed that the answers to her own predicament lay in uncovering the truth about Mrs. Kapoor's fate. That was the last anyone ever heard from Aditi. Her disappearance was as sudden and mysterious as Mrs. Kapoor's. The apartment was left in a state of disarray, with the diary being the only clue to what might have happened. The diary provided no answers, only more questions. The police were left baffled, and the case remained unsolved. The eerie entries in Aditi's diary hinted at something supernatural, something beyond the realm of their understanding. The mystery of apartment number 8 continued to haunt them, leaving a chilling reminder of the unknown. Section 9. Prerna Heights today, shrouded in mystery. Today, Prerna Heights still stands tall in the heart of Delhi. Life goes on within its walls, vibrant and chaotic. But the 8th floor remains abandoned. The door to Aditi's apartment is sealed shut. The crimson stain remains, a silent testament to the horrors that unfolded within. The legend of the 8th floor lives on, a chilling reminder that some mysteries are best left unsolved.